Welcome to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and on this show, ambitious women learn how to create a life they're obsessed with, without the hustle, without the grind, without torturing ourselves, and without following anybody else's rules. This podcast is all about creating our own rules, owning our identity as creator, and hitting every single goal we set for ourselves. Together, we're redefining success on our terms and building lives that look as good as they feel. Let's dive in. Welcome back. We are going to have a very fun conversation about self-sabotage, and I use the word fun, maybe a little sarcastically, but if you have found yourself knowing exactly what to do to get closer to where you want to go, but somehow you don't do it, this episode is for you. I want you to listen to the whole thing, and maybe I want you to listen to it twice, okay? Because this is a really important conversation. I've come to believe that self-sabotage is one of the biggest reasons why you don't know what you want. And the reason why I say that is because if you're here, that means that you believe that you are the creator of your reality, or at the very least, you want to believe that you are the creator of your reality. Maybe you're not all the way there yet, but there's some part of you that realizes that you have infinitely more control over your outcomes than you give yourself credit for, but you're not actively doing the things that you know you need to do in order to own that, then you are making a choice to not do it. And that, my friends, is sabotage. It's one thing when you don't know, right? When you were completely unconscious to the idea that you were the creator of your reality and you weren't doing the things, that was very different, right? But now you know. And I know you know because you wouldn't still be listening to me if there wasn't a part of you that believed it, which now means it is 110% your responsibility to take ownership and fix it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's start with what self-sabotage is, because again, I would have never considered myself a self-sabotage expert, but I was asked to give a talk to a room full of real estate agents about self-sabotage. And I'm like, I talk about this with my clients, but let me do a little research, right? So I start Googling and looking and reading articles and stories. And of course, obviously the schools of YouTube and TikTok. And I'm like, mother trucker, we are all self-sabotaging. I am self-sabotaging still to this day. Holy shit. So what is self-sabotage? It's not a lack of knowledge, effort, or discipline. It is 100% an identity and alignment issue. But the way that self-sabotage is defined is knowing what to do and not doing it, because that means that you are intentionally sabotaging your results because you know what to do, but you're not doing it. And I have done this to myself my entire adult life. So I have a lot of sympathy and a lot of empathy and a lot of understanding. But I can also stand here solidly and tell you, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And I know that sucks. Right. So I'm going to give you some examples of self-sabotage so you can decide whether or not you're self-sabotaging. Because if you're like me and it was 2 weeks ago and I would have heard this, I would be like, sabotage isn't my jam. And I'm like, oh no, yep. Self-sabotage is my jam. Do you do this? Do you buy courses or coaching programs and don't go through them? Or you buy them and you listen to them maybe, but you don't actually do what they tell you to do. So for instance, I can think of one in particular. I have a client who went through this program. It was a money program that she went through. And one of the things that was recommended in the program was breath work. And she didn't do the breath work. She's like, I didn't have time. Self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. If somebody says you will make $1 million in the next 12 months if you do breath work for an hour every day, are you going to find time to do breath work for an hour every day? If you don't, then you're self-sabotaging, right? Because you know, in this instance, this person can tell you this thing is going to get you closer to where you want to go. And you bought that and you trusted that person and you aligned with that person and their mission and their vision and all the different things, but you're not doing what they told you to do because you don't have time. You are self-sabotaging. Okay. That is one for sure. Another one, this is a really big one, negative self-talk. You know that the conversation happening in your head is controlling your entire life. You know that your self-concept, how you see yourself, is actually what dictates you do or don't get, but you continue to talk to yourself like shit and be mean to yourself and unkind to yourself and tell yourself you're dumb and you're stupid and you're not good enough and nobody's going to trust you and you don't have enough experience and you're not smart enough and all of this, and you continue to let that conversation happen even though you know that that conversation is making it worse. Self-sabotage, because if you're reinforcing those stories by not taking action, you've already convinced yourself that it won't work, which is again, sabotage. So fun, right? Constantly seeking distractions and engaging in time-wasting activities. TikTok, anyone? Spending so much time doing things that are not moving the needle. One of the biggest ones I see in this is like getting stuck in the shoulds and the have tos, or, I just need to get more organized, over planning, constantly tweaking. I got to do this first. I got to do that first. Constantly doing the things that aren't moving the needles, but keep you feeling busy enough that you feel good about yourself is also a form of self-sabotage, right? Because those things are wasting your time and they're not moving you any closer to where you want to go. Another one, lack of boundaries and standards. If you do not hold your standards, you let people walk all over you, treat you like shit, talk to you disrespectfully, not follow your process, any of those things, those are all self-sabotage because you're not okay with it, but you're allowing it to happen. And you're thinking, Ryan, I can't control how other people talk. No, you can't. But you can control whether or not they get to continue talking to you. That's just a rule in my life. You don't talk to me like that. Nobody gets to talk to me disrespectfully. It is a boundary and a standard. And if I were to not hold that boundary and standard for some reason with anyone for any reason, it then becomes self-sabotage because it is a choice. It is a choice to not hold a boundary. It is a choice to not hold a standard. Therefore, it is a choice to allow that to continue happening. And I know this is uncomfortable and I'm being a little strongly worded, but when I started really understanding like what self-sabotage is and how much we're actually doing it and how much it's actually hurting us, it kind of fired me up a little bit. Because we think it's no big deal. Oh, it's just a boundary. I'm just going to respond to this text message after the time I said that I would. Or I'm going to take that client call on a Friday, even though I said that I wouldn't. Or I'm going to take on that project, even though I said that I wouldn't. That is breaking trust with yourself. And it's not holding your boundaries and standards. It's saying that you're not important. And that is a form of self-sabotage because remember, you're the creator here. Perfectionism and imposter syndrome. I think one of these days I'm probably going to do a whole podcast on imposter syndrome because I think it's absolutely positively fucking garbage. I think imposter syndrome is just another way of saying fearful, right? It's your not enough story. It's your I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I don't have enough experience. I haven't been doing this for long enough, which is not true because it's all fucking made up anyway. And do you know how we know that that's true? Because there's a lot of mediocre white men doing what it is that you want to do and they are certainly not better at it than you are. Sorry. Not sorry, but perfectionism. It's got to be perfect. If you're waiting till it's perfect, if you feel like, hey, I don't belong in the room, I'm not experienced enough to be here. If you think you just need one more certification, one more class, my real estate agents, this one's for you. All those classes you keep taking and not doing anything with because I just need to learn this to be experienced enough. Self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. It's a choice. It's a choice because you all know somebody with less experience who is not as good as you is doing it and they're winning doing it because they have the balls to do it. The next one is trying to control everything. This one is for you, my control freaks. I used to identify. I'm a recovering control freak. That's what I'm going to go with. But if you're constantly micromanaging every single detail and refusing to let go of control and refusing to delegate and refusing to let the world fucking surprise you in some way, shape, or form, you're actually blocking yourself from receiving because you are under the illusion that it needs your control to get done. And that is simply not true. It's just a story you tell yourself, which means you are constantly choosing to try to control things and in turn, self-sabotage. And then this one's going to hurt. Maybe it's meant to, but feeling disconnected from yourself, your family, or your body, but never making space to fix it. The number of humans that I talk to in any given week who tell me how burnt out they are, how tired they are. They're not spending time with their friends. They're not spending time with their families. They're not connecting with their partners. They're not taking care of their bodies. They're not meditating. They're not doing breath work. They're not going for walks. They're not journaling. They're not doing it, but they know that they should be, but they just simply do not have the time is alarming. And it is a form of self-sabotage because you are aware that all of those things are going to make it better and you're choosing not to, which means you are choosing to continue to suffer, which is a form of sabotage. Sorry, not sorry, my friends, but it's true. If you know what to do and you choose to not do it, you are consciously choosing the results. And I'm uncomfortable too, which is maybe why I'm so strongly worded right now, because I'm like, fuck, I do that, right? But when you tell me that, hey, Ryan, I feel so disconnected from myself. I don't have any time for myself. And then you don't take time for yourself. You don't move anything off the schedule to make time for yourself. Again, that is a choice. And consciously choosing to do something you know that's good for, or to do something or not do something is a form of self-sabotage. So why do we sabotage? Why is this happening? Let's talk about that first. And then we'll talk about how to fix it. So why is this happening? You don't fully identify as the person who has what you want. You aren't owning your identity as the creator of your reality. Because if you truly believed that you are the creator of your reality, you would not buy your own bullshit. If you don't see yourself as the person who has the thing, I've got dogs looking at me at the time I'm recording this. It's apparently time to eat. I've got an audience, friends. It's going to be good. But you don't fully identify as the person. So if you don't see yourself as successful, confident, in demand, somebody who people want to work with, if you don't see yourself as smart or any of those other things, if you don't see yourself in that light, then you have an identity issue. And that's why you keep sabotaging and creating your own self-fulfilling prophecy of I told you I wasn't good enough. I told you I wasn't good enough. I told you I wasn't good enough, right? That is a form of sabotage because when you own your identity as I am the one creating my reality, you then realize that the entire mess that you're looking at right now, you created. Right? You are the problem and the solution. Stacey B says that all the time. You are the problem and you are the solution. And that is why you are self-sabotaging because you don't think, or maybe you don't think it's important enough, right? To do the things, you're not holding your boundaries and standards and you're taking deals that you shouldn't take and that sort of stuff because you don't know where the next one is coming from. That's because you don't see yourself as the person who hits their goals, right? If you knew without a shadow of a doubt what you wanted was done, it was here, it was finished, how would you think, feel, and act? Because you would not self-sabotage. You would go for the walk. You would do the breath work.
you would take action. You would stop doing shit you hate. But you don't believe that, so you keep doing these things. So that is the number one reason we sabotage, is we don't truly believe that we are the ones creating our reality. We believe that we are victims and the world is happening to us. That is why you continue to sabotage. Because if you knew and you owned it and you believed it, you wouldn't keep doing it. The second one is you're out of alignment. You're out of alignment. If something feels heavy or gross or like you're forcing it, you will resist it. This is my shoulds and my have tos. People doing shit they fucking hate because they think it's the only way to succeed. It's the most masculine energy way of doing things. And I don't mean masculine as far as men. I mean masculine energy. Masculine energy is very structured. It's very how-to. It's very process-driven. And there's a time and a place for it. But that's not it for most of us, right? If you, especially as women, but even men, when you get into that more receivership and that feminine energy and that flowy energy, you don't do anything that you don't want to do. And I know one of you right now is thinking, that's just not real life, Ryan. No, it's not your life. That's not your life. If you believed that you were the creator of your reality and that you didn't have to do anything that you hated in order to be successful, you wouldn't do it. So you can tell me that it's not reality, but remember, it's not your reality. It is somebody's reality. It is other people's reality. I don't do anything in my business I don't want to do, ever. And I do just fine. So it's not your reality. That's a really important one. I don't know, this is kind of a sidebar, but when you say that, like, it's just not real life, right? You just don't understand my industry. I know my real estate agents are screaming right now. You don't get it. You don't get it. There's time and there's things and there's deadlines and you have to, and you have to, and you have to. Bullshit. Bullshit. Do you know how I know that's not true? Because I know agents who don't work after 6 o'clock. I know loan officers who don't take calls on Saturday. I know people who work in real estate who don't take phone calls from their clients at all hours of the day. I know that they are not, which means it's not required. It's just the story that you're buying. But again, when you are out of alignment, you are way more likely to self-sabotage because it's hard to force yourself to sit down and do shit you hate doing. Right? Another reason we sabotage is that you're addicted to the chaos. Our brain really likes safety and predictability. Gosh, it likes it so much. So if success has always been struggle and hard work and sacrifice and just torturing the shit out of yourself, you will continue to make things hard, even when they don't need to be, because that's what's comfortable. And learning to break that addiction to the chaos, which by the way is through nervous system regulation, which is things like breath work, meditation, going for a walk, laughing, having fun, doing things you enjoy, things that you never, ever, 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 ever make time for. That's why you're addicted to the chaos, because you don't know how to do anything else. But when you prioritize those things, you're not so addicted to it anymore. You don't need it anymore. You can learn to let go of it for sure. So the reasons we self-sabotage, we don't see ourselves as creators, we're out of alignment, or we're addicted to chaos because we're not doing the nervous system regulation to get us out of that addiction. Okay? So how do we do it? How do we stop? How do we stop? That's what y'all really want to know, Ryan. Tell me how to stop. Shift your identity. Shift your identity. Again, how does the version of me who already has what I want think, feel, and act? And think, feel, and act that way today. Shift your identity. When you start seeing yourself as I am the creator of my reality and my thoughts and my feelings and my actions create, then I no longer think thoughts like, I'm not going to do that. Because again, if you knew your results were promised, you would fucking do it. You would find the time. You would make it happen. You would stop doing things that you hate. So you have to start seeing yourself as the creator of your reality, or you're going to continue to torpedo your results. The next one is you have to align before you act. If the strategy feels awful and you're forcing it, ask yourself, how would this look if it were easy and fun? Again, would I do this? If I was wearing my identity as creator, would I be forcing myself to take action in this way? And sometimes, guys, the answer is yes. Like, I just want to be real clear. Sometimes I do have to talk myself into going for a walk every morning, right? Like sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, it's real cold out there. I don't want to go. Or it's going to be wet and muddy and the dogs are going to be a mess, right? Like some days I don't feel like doing it. But I remember that the most important thing I can do for myself in order to create the life I desire is to manage my energy. And that is a tool that helps me manage my energy. And it is more important to me to manage my energy than to stay warm right now. So I get aligned first, because aligned action creates results. Misaligned action creates burnout. So if you're experiencing burnout, it's because the majority of what you're doing is probably out of alignment. It's shit that you hate, and it's the shoulds and the have-tos. The next thing we need to do is we need to reprogram or change our relationship with success. We have to redefine success. I've been talking about this a lot lately. If money meant success, we wouldn't have so many fucked up, unhappy people in the world. Sorry, not sorry, right? Whether it is you are the person who has a shit ton of money and you're unhappy and out of alignment, or whether you know somebody who has a shit ton of money and is unhappy and out of alignment, right? Success isn't just money. Success isn't just the leaderboard or the accolades or the number of followers or the neighborhood you live in or the car. And as long as you think that success is outside of you and that it means sacrifice and suffering and hard work, you will continue to self-sabotage because again, you're out of alignment because you are the creator of your reality. All the power is inside of you. So we have to redefine success. What if success was being happy? What if success was spending, 2 hours meditating every day? What if success was making sure that you didn't take any work phone calls from the time your kids got home from school to when they left their evening activities or went to bed, depending on how old your kids are, right? What if that were success? Being present with your family. Whew, what would that look like, right? Because the more aligned you are, the easier things flow. But you have to redefine success, because if in your head, success and hard work are in the same box, you're always going to struggle. You got to get them out of the same box. You have to redefine what success looks like for you. And it has to be internal things, not external things. Because as long as it is money, or again, number of clients, accolades, recognition, things that happen outside of you, you will continue to self-sabotage, because again, you're trying to control the outside world instead of realizing that you're the one holding all the power. So what do we do now? Okay, what do we do now? I've given you a very heavy talking to today. I don't try to do this too often, but again, maybe it's because I'm a little triggered in this. But I want to ask you, where in your life are you saying you want something, but your actions don't align with it? Seriously, journal this one out. Don't fucking tell me you don't have the time. Journal it out. Where in your life are you saying that you want something, but your actions don't align with that? Ask yourself why. Because sometimes the answer is, I don't even really fucking want, right? I used to think I wanted a great big giant company, tens of millions of dollars and employees and yada, 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 yada. And actually, I don't think I want that. At least not right now. I'm always a never say never kind of girl. But right now, I can tell you that I don't want that, because I don't want to spend that much time. I don't want to expend that much energy. I don't want to. I don't want that, which is why my actions don't align to building that sort of company. And again, pick your whatever works best for you. But where in your life are you saying that you want something, but your actions don't align with it? Because that is a huge opportunity for reflection, and then also to figure out where the sabotage is coming from. So today I want you to write down one area where you have been sabotaging yourself. And then I want you to ask yourself this extremely important question. How would the version of me who already has what I want think, feel, and act, and commit to doing that? Stop buying your own bullshit. I say all the time, I tell clients this, I tell prospects this, I tell people this all the time. I'm unavailable for bullshit. I'm energetically unavailable for bullshit. I don't do drama. I don't do chaos. I don't do it. It's just not for me. And sometimes we need to have that level of unbothered energy for ourselves. Stop buying your own bullshit. And if you are buying your own bullshit, you have to ask yourself the question, why? Why? Do I really want this? Is this really important to me? And if the answer is yes, cool. Let's work through it. But sometimes the answer winds up being no, and you're just chasing something you don't even really want because you think that's what you're supposed to want. And again, that's a whole other podcast episode. But my friends, the only reason why you do not have what you want is because you're not operating from the identity of creator, which means you're not thinking, acting, and feeling in alignment with the version of you who already has what she wants. Because if you knew it was inevitable, you wouldn't sabotage yourself. You would do the things, all the whole list I went through. Right? You would not buy that course or that program and not go through it if you thought it was going to help you. If you were buying it because it made you feel good, that's a different conversation, right? Negative self-talk, you wouldn't fucking entertain it. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. You're in control here, right? Wouldn't entertain it. Distractions and engaging in shit that isn't moving the needle, not something you would do if you knew it was inevitable, right? Boundaries and standards, you would not give for a single fucking second if you knew that you were the one creating your reality. Perfectionism, imposter syndrome, you would know, again, is just you being scared, which is very normal. Trying to control everything, control is an illusion. You've got control over nothing except for the conversation happening in your head. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions are the only thing that you control, but you're too busy trying to control all the outside things. And allowing disconnection from the things that are really important in your life over your work, you would never do if you knew you had another choice, if you believed you had another choice. So as usual, this comes down to an identity issue. Do you see yourself as the creator of your reality? Do you really, truly believe it? What if you just entertained it, just for funsies, just for fun? Give me like a week of acting like it's already done. Thinking, feeling, and acting like it's already done. Tell me what happens. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Uncensored Self podcast. If you're walking away with a new perspective, some fresh inspiration, or the push you needed to show up as your uncensored self, I'd love to hear about it. Share this episode, leave a review, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember, success isn't about following somebody else's rules. It's about owning who you are, deciding what you want, and going after it unapologetically. Until next time, keep leading, keep creating, and stay uncensored.